I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, November the 27th, brought to you in part by New Generation Supplements, makers of Smart Lick protein tubs. Cattle can't digest forage efficiently when protein levels are low. As a result, they don't get enough energy to meet their daily requirements. Smart Lick tubs help cattle maximize the energy they derive from available forage. For more information, go to newgensupplements.com. Unbelievable stocker demand, and then we're going to give you your punchy picks for the month at the end of that. But I've talked to several buyers all over the country. None of them can believe how much demand they're seeing for these stocker type cattle. And like I said on our last visit, the stockers are getting heavier, all the way up to 800 pounds. But guys are just wanting something to turn out on this winter forage, which we have an abundance of. We've had big rains out west in California. They're going to have all kinds of winter forage out there. You come back in the center parts of the country and we've got all kinds of wheat pasture, ryegrass, whatever, what have you. You go up into the lower Midwest, they've got stockpiled fescue. There's just lots of places to turn cattle out, and it's just against people's reason not to turn cattle out whenever they have available forage for them. There's not much else they can do with it. For instance, most of this wheat pasture, your dryland wheat pasture in the southern plains, it's a variety that won't make a crop. So it's not like they're going to hold cattle off of it and then they're going to cut wheat off of it. Most of it will not make a wheat crop. The best it can do is make some wheat hay. So they're just going to forgo that if they don't have something to turn out on it. And no, these cattle don't look like they'll work. These stocker type cattle look way too high, but people are still going to turn them out. And it's just they're scrambling to secure these tight supplies of stockers that are not so much available. And now it's been exacerbated by the border closing due to the screwworms and further uncertainty by the border crossing due to Trump's tariffs. So, guys are really going out looking for cattle. And we've seen unbelievable demand. Like I mentioned on Monday, even in Oklahoma City, where it's mostly just professional order buyers there. It's not necessarily your backgrounders themselves or your farmer feeders or weekend warriors or anybody like that. It is professional order buyers that are pushing these stocker calves to levels we've never seen before, and especially in the fall of the year like we're seeing right now. And we've never seen trends as sharply high as we've seen here the last couple of weeks. I mean, calling cattle $10 higher, $20 higher, spots $30 higher. That is huge. And it may not be as much, comparatively, whenever these prices get that high. $10 is not as much on $300 calves as it is on $200 calves, but it's still extremely significant, guys. And I don't see it backing off anytime soon. We would have liked to turn a lot of these wheat cattle out November the 15th. 2 weeks before that, we didn't think we were going to get to turn anything out at all. Then we had all that moisture. Then it's been muddy. And now they're wanting to get those cattle turned out by December the 1st, which is right around the corner now. But they're still going to try to buy those cattle to take advantage of all that cheap weight gain that they're going to see if they turn those cattle out. But we're right here on Thanksgiving. This is going to be the last feeder flash this week, as we're not going to have a lot to talk about on Thursday and Friday. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and we'll talk to you again on Monday. But I've got to give you the punchy pick winners for this month. This is the last feeder flash we're going to have for the month, and we always give your punchy pick winners on the last feeder flash of the month. We're going to start out with the Kids Corral, which doesn't give you any big prizes, but it does give you bragging rights. And I know a lot of people like to see their kids on the feeder flash, and we like to give them recognition for that. Third place on the kids corral is Joe Roberts. Now this is Blaine Roberts. I assume it's his son or maybe grandson there, and he is counting cattle, and that is part of his homeschooled math lesson there on the ranch. And it looks like he might have Dad's hat on there too, but I thought that was kind of a cute picture there of Blaine helping count those cattle. Second place in the kids corral is Mark Blevins from Garnett, Texas, and he's got a group of kids there and there checking cows, and they are kind of in deep conversation. They just settled down there in a pack, and they squatted down there, and they're really talking some things over, and then all of a sudden got a big surprise when they came face to face with this cow, wondering what they're conversating about there a little bit. But I thought that was a good kids corral pick for second place. First place in the kids corral come from Lori Messenger from Woodward, Oklahoma, and she's got a picture of Shani Grunwald, and she's only 4 years old, helping process the calves there, and her job in the processing was applying Therapies, which is pretty easy to apply. You just squirt it on their muzzle and on their poll, and then they're taken care of there. But I thought that was awful cute, and congratulations to Lori and Cheney there for the first place in the kids corral. Now, Punchy Pick of the Month contest. This is where we get the big grand prize, but third place in Punchy Pick of the Month contest is Jake Zeet. His horse got frisky with him probably early in the morning and might be a little fresh that morning, and then the yearlings kind of got playful with that too, and they wanted to get involved. They thought they were having a good time there, not so much there for the guy trying to ride that horse, but that was good enough for third place. Second place comes from Russ Jones, and this was a picture that he sent to me personally there, but I thought it was pretty punchy there. I tell you what, when it's hard to straighten cattle up in the fall of the year, and then you're trying to keep track of what all they've had. You've got a small tag there, and you're trying to keep track of what all they've had. And if you look at that tag, it appears like he's given them just about everything there is to give, and he's running out of space on that crowded tag. And that calf might be bordering on chronic status there. But I thought that was a pretty cool pick for the time of the year it was. But first place in the Punchy Pick of the Month contest is Scott Miller from the Miller Ranch in Junction City, Kansas. And he had his feed truck there, and he was trying to gather some pears, and he's gathering them up with that feed truck, and he saw some turn back on him, so he just jumped out of the feed truck, headed those pears, and got them going the right direction. He turned back to go back to the feed truck, and the feed truck was gone. And he looked down the hill. It was about 1/8 of a mile down, and it had went nosed first into this pond. And he did note that the truck had dodged several trees and jumped a big rock to get to where it was going, and then finally settled in that pond. But he said they got that truck pulled out of that pond. He changed the fluids on it, and the next day that old dependable Ford was ready to go feeding again. But congratulations to Scott Miller. He's the winner of the Punchy Pick of the Month contest. He's going to get the whole grand prize, which is going to be a huge box delivered to his house full of swag from Beaver Feed Company in Beaver, Oklahoma. A lot of cool stuff from Beaver County Stockyards, also in Beaver, Oklahoma. Going to have some cool stuff from Feeder Flash, NationalBeefWire, Therapies, and then he's going to get the whole case of Therapies, that revolutionary product that is scientifically proven. So hope you enjoy all those prizes, Scott, and congratulations to you. Let's talk about your board on Tuesday there. December live cattle futures were up 40 cents at 186.90. They haven't gone up near as much as your feeder cattle have because your packers aren't wanting to pay more for cattle. They may by the time this week is over, even though it's a holiday week, but we haven't seen the big demand, which you don't see it because you don't have any competition in your fed cattle market for the most part, but still up 40 cents on the spot market. December at 186.90. February was unchanged at 187.70, and then your back months didn't move much from steady there, from down 10 cents to up 20 cents, so not much change there. But feeder cattle, gaining ground, pulled by cash feeders and your demand for these stocker cattle, and there's still good demand for feeder cattle too, especially from your farmer feeders that all have all this cheap feed, and the grain hadn't been worth a heck of a lot, so they're trying to make money that way. But January feeder cattle up 262 on Tuesday at 258.10. March was up 215 at 256.47. And then your back months were all up from 87 cents higher to $1.97 higher. Look at your grains, continued weaker with corn down 4 3/4 cents a bushel at 4.20 a bushel for your December contract. January beans down 2 1/4 cents at 9.83 1/2. Hard red winter wheat for March up 1 3/4 cents at 5.58 3/4. Fat cattle trade, nothing to speak of on a direct basis out of your 5-area feeding region. Negotiated cash. Iowa had a few sales, but it was from odd mixed bags of cattle or something that was just off grade. It was nothing to really make a market out of, and then absolutely nothing out of Nebraska, Kansas, or Texas. So we have no idea what the fat cattle market's going to be. Probably happen on Friday after the holiday. It could happen late Wednesday, not sure. But our market maker at Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota, biggest fat cattle auction brick and mortar sale that we have in this country. They had 1,500 in overnight and 2,500 head for their fat cattle auction. Conventional fat steers and heifers sold from 183 to 188.75, and that was pretty much steady. Program cattle, and they had a lot of them. The drug-free cattle on the program sold from 187 to 193, which was steady to $3 higher. Packers paying a premium for those types. Non-implanted cattle, which makes up the bulk of the supply there at Stockman's Livestock in Yankton. Non-implanted cattle selling from 185 1/2 to 192, and that was 50 cents to $1 higher. So looking pretty optimistic there at a fat cattle auction there in the northern plains. You're talking about your box beef cutout values. They were higher on Tuesday, and your rib hitting an all new high for the history of keeping track of that commodity there. But choice cuts up 186 at 311.57. Selects up $1.75 at 275.49. Your slaughters keeping a pretty good pace so far this week, but it's going to have the holiday interruption. But up through the first 2 days of the week, 246,000 estimated cattle slaughter. That's 2,000 better than this point last week, 5,000 less than this point the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Charolais, pounds matter and pay weight counts. If you're looking at some bulls, you're wanting to mix up your genetics in your cow herd, you might want to think about Charolais. Industry acceptance, and that is the main thing. Industry acceptance for Charolais. That's the biggest difference when you're looking to add efficiency, weaning weight, performance, and profitability. For more information, go to charolaiusa.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DVAuction late in the day on Tuesday after all the sales have closed, sitting at 255.85. That was up 60 cents compared to the end of the day on Monday. And your latest CME cash feeder cattle index sitting at 255.71. Talk about some big sales that have come up here late in the week. On Friday, Green City Livestock Marketing is going to have the second half of their Thursday specials. They had their yearling sale on Tuesday, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that in a minute. But on Friday, Green City, Missouri, which is in the Green Hills of northern Missouri there, they are going to have their calf sale, and they're going to have over 2,500 of them, and they'll be some of the finest calves you can find anywhere. Green City Livestock Marketing, that's a DVAuction broadcaster, view and bid right there. And then another sale they're going to have on Friday, way up in the northern plains at Stockman's Livestock Exchange in Dickinson, North Dakota. They're having their big Thanksgiving replacement sale, and they're going to have close to 2,000 head of replacements, including 700 or 800 bred heifers, and they will be as fine as you can find anywhere. I mean, extremely high genetics and top quality, and then just a jillion fancy bred cows. They've got 5 big dispersals that they're selling, and all those cows will be honest. If you want to check out that sale in Dickinson, North Dakota at Stockman's Livestock Exchange, talked to John Fisher on Tuesday, and he did say if you're planning to bid, even if you think you might, you're going to plan on watching the sale on DVAuction, he asked you to go ahead and get approved on Wednesday here. They're going to be really busy, and it's during the holidays. They can't check anybody out. They got people in the office. If you could call them on Wednesday, tell them you might be wanting to bid online on DVAuction. Could you get approved? They can do that for you on Wednesday, and then on Friday when the sale starts, you'll be ready to go to bid on DVAuction there on that big Thanksgiving special replacement deal out of Dickinson, North Dakota. Talk about your big sales on Tuesday. How about Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri? 1,900 head through the ring, which is pretty good for this close to the holiday. Then another 459 through their in-house video they do with help from DVAuction. Talk about the cattle that went through the ring. Feeder steers sold $4 to $8 higher. They didn't have a really good test of feeder heifers. Steer calves were fairly uneven. They gained a bunch of ground last week, except for your peewees, and that's what we've seen the biggest demand for. Those 3-weight steer calves in West Plains of Missouri sold up to $20 higher. Heifer calves sold $4 to $8 higher, with spots as much as $12 higher. Stick-out sale that I saw at West Plains on Tuesday was 147 steers weighed 766 and bring 267 1/4 in South Central Missouri, guys. Give you several individual quotes from all around. How about Flint Hills Stockyards in St. Mary's, Kansas, formerly Rezac Livestock there. They sold 76 steers weighed 756 at $279.85. Big time quote out of there. How about Winter Livestock in La Junta, Colorado? That's in eastern Colorado there, guys. It's not in the Sandhills of Nebraska, but still, they've got good wheat demand out there. They sell 72 steer calves weigh 520 pounds at $327. Now how about a big heifer quote? Come out of Lolly Brothers Livestock Market in Macon, Missouri. DVAuction broadcaster there, has been forever. These are feeder heifers. 75 head of them weighed 672, bring 279.75. Whoa. How about Green City Livestock at their Thanksgiving special? The first half of it, they had their yearling sale on Tuesday. Green City, Missouri, DVAuction broadcaster there. They sell 59 big steers weighed 909 pounds at $259.50. And they are expecting 2,500 calves for their Friday calf special. How about Kingsville Livestock Auction? They've got DVAuction broadcasting in there. In Kingsville, Missouri, 122 big steers weighed 889 at $268.35. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday in your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day, come out of Unionville Livestock Market in Unionville, Missouri. Those rockin' R's that I talk about all the time out of Lucerne, Missouri there. They do such a good job backgrounding those steers and still leaving some good in them for the next owner. But they sold 6 loads of 8 to 850 pound backgrounded steers that they put together. The 6 loads had an average on the load of 838 pounds with an average price per load of $269.50. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving.